This is the seventh lecture that you have tuned in for Hillman Talk. And I am pretty proud of you all for sticking with me along the way and tuning in to try to find a healthier living lifestyle. And so that's pretty awesome. So now what I'm doing, I'm just sharing my screen over here on YouTube. So for the people that are viewing the PowerPoint presentation on YouTube, they'll be able to see everything. And so it looks like I'm all situated and good to go, I guess. Anyway, so I want you to imagine something. I want you to imagine feeling energized. I want you to imagine feeling stress-free, fully in control of your health every single day. Does that sound like it's something that you could do? Does that sound like it's something that's possible? What do you think? I want you to tap in. Do you think that that is something that you can do, that you can be energized or that you can be stress-free every single day? Is that something that you think that you would be able to do? Or do you think that that's something that sounds impossible? Do you think it sounds impossible for you to be stress-free or for you to be relaxing and things like that? Do you think that that's something that you will be able to do? Okay. So if you think that it's impossible, I want you to stick around to the end because I'm going to reveal a powerful yet overlooked technique that can help you to take back control of your sleep, that can help you to take back control of your stress levels, as well as your self-care on top of the athletes and CEOs and things like that. They're not the only people that, are able to do this. And they're not the only people that swear by these techniques as well. Okay. So you definitely don't want to miss out on that because you deserve to have the same type of strategies that the rich and famous do. Right. All right. So again, can you believe that it has been we're in the fourth week. So we're in the fourth final week of our glow up guy already. Okay. So we are on lesson number 7. We have one more lesson to go, which will be this Thursday. And I'll explain a little bit about that later. So just to do a brief recap. Okay, so we are on lesson number 7. We have one more lesson to go, which will be this Thursday, and I'll explain a little bit about that later. So just to do a brief recap, lesson number 1, we talked about what does healthy really mean. We talked about what it means to be healthy in terms of a lot of different things. So if you missed those lectures or any of the other lectures, then you will just go ahead and tune in to YouTube because that's where all of those messages or videos, that's where all of those videos are. Lesson number 2, we talked about building small yet powerful habits because oftentimes when we are trying to get into the habit of doing things, we become so overwhelmed because of the fact that we make our habits, we try to make too big of a change too soon. And so what ends up happening is that we end up falling short and then we end up, feeling like a failure and then we end up stopping it altogether. Okay. But lesson number 2 was about building powerful habits. Lesson number 3, we talked about plate power. We talked about what you should really eat. What should your plate actually look like, which was a really good lesson. One of my favorite lessons that we talked about was lesson number 4, decoding food labels. A lot of different things are hidden inside of the food label. And so we discussed, how do you actually read a food label? What are some of the things that you should look for in a food label? So we covered a lot of those different things as well. Lesson number 5, we talked about getting moving and how daily movements help to boost your mind, body, and just overall helps you to feel good about yourself. In our previous lesson, last week, we talked about stress management. So stress management for the modern world, we talked about ways that you can try to reduce your stress. So we know that stress is like one of those, friends that we don't necessarily like, but we kind of have to like them because they're like family kind of sort of. That's what stress is like. We are going to have to deal with stress because stress is a natural part of our life. However, we don't want to allow stress to control us altogether to the point where it's affecting our health. So that's what the previous lesson was about. And so today we're talking about sleep, stress, and self-care for long-term health as well as success. So here are the lesson objectives for today. So by the end of this lesson, hopefully you'll understand why recovery is just as important as activity for long-term health. Oftentimes we think about exercise, getting, to the gym and things like that, but we don't necessarily think about the recovery. We don't think about the downtime. We always think about going, but we don't think about the downtime. So with this lesson, we're going to think about why recovery is just as important as the exercise. We're going to then identify some common challenges that interfere with our sleep quality, some things that we could be doing and you don't realize it that affect your sleep, that affect stress management as well as self-care. We're also going to learn about scientifically backed techniques that are going to help improve sleep quality as well as stress reliance, so that we're not so heavily affected by stress. Then we're going to be able to develop. Okay, so now I'm going to move in. Does anybody have any questions so far? I'm wondering why my tea tastes funny. I brush my teeth. That's why. So don't be like me. Don't brush your teeth and then try to drink tea and then wonder why your tea tastes funny. That's not good. All right, so now we're going to move to our introduction. So our introduction is so we're going to start with a simple question. Who here has ever felt completely drained even after a full night's sleep? Type yes in the chat if you've ever felt completely drained even after you've had a full night's sleep. So I'm going to wait for your comments. Type yes if you've ever had a full night's sleep, but yet you still feel stressed or not stressed, but tired when you get up. Anybody at all? Nobody? Somebody, anybody? Scream. All right. So the reason why you still feel like that after a full night's sleep is because it's about the quality of the recovery. Okay. It's because it's not necessarily just about sleeping for the sake of sleeping, but it's about recovery. Okay. So I want you to think about your body, or think of your body as like a smartphone. Okay. You wouldn't expect your phone to run efficiently at 5%. Okay. Especially all day. You won't expect your phone to run at a 5% battery all day, right? You'd eventually have to stop and charge that phone. You'd have to leave it alone. And we do realize that the more you leave the phone alone, the phone will charge quicker, right? And sometimes if we turn the phone off, it will charge even faster, okay? Recovery works pretty much the exact same way. And so what I mean by that is we can't function properly if we do not give our bodies a chance to recharge. We cannot function properly. So today we're going to discuss how you can optimize your recovery as well as your stress management to improve your overall aspects of your life. So like I said, recovery is just as important as activity. Without proper recovery, then your workouts and daily activities become less effective. Overtraining, as we talked about in one of our previous lessons, can lead to burnout. It can lead to injuries. It can lead to a decrease in performance. So you're doing more and more, but yet your body is not able to perform like it should, and it can't because of the fact that you're not allowing ample time for recovery. So again, think of your body like a smartphone. It needs to charge just like a smartphone would. We wouldn't leave our devices unplugged for 72 hours. We would eventually have to charge them up. The same thing happens with your body as well. So at the bottom line is that at least 1 in 3 adults don't get enough sleep or rest to function optimally. They don't get enough sleep or rest. Okay. Research shows that at least 1 in 3. So that could be you. You could be one of those 3 that do not get enough rest in order to function. And that's why you sleep, but you're not resting. Okay. All right. So what I want you to do now is raise your hand in the chat or say yes if you have ever said, I don't have time for self-care. Have you ever said that? Have you ever, maybe not said it, but have you ever thought that maybe I don't have time for self-care? I don't have time to rest. I don't have time to get that massage. I don't have time to, I have things to do. Have you ever felt like that? Have you ever felt like I have things to do? I have, I can't necessarily stop because I have things that I need to do. I don't have time, because you're so busy trying to manage things and get things done that you don't actually take time out for self-care. I know me personally, I'm guilty of that. I do a lot of that where I am just not focusing on me so much because I'm too busy trying to take care of, everything and everybody else that's around me. So if you've ever felt that way, you are not alone, because many of us are juggling so many different things at the same time. We're juggling, family, we're juggling work, we're juggling responsibilities and, kids, just a whole bunch of other things we're trying to juggle all at the same time. But research shows that if you are skipping rest, and self-care actually makes us less productive and more prone to burnout. It's like you're moving, but you're not necessarily, you're not getting things done. You're moving, but you're moving like a sloth. You're not able to get things done because you don't have the energy to get things done. Okay. So again, 35% of adults don't get enough sleep. That's fact. Okay. Then we live in what we like to call the hustle culture, where we are constantly trying to hustle. We're trying to get a lot of things done. For example, does anybody in the comments have multiple jobs? Do you have more than one job? Whether, you're, whatever it is, do you have more than one job? Maybe you're doing some hustling on the side. Maybe you're doing a little bit of hair. Maybe you're, doing some nails. Maybe you're, doing a few different things like that. If so, if you find yourself doing more things, then that means that you're living in that hustle culture where you have to constantly be doing something, okay? Which is a problem. And then how about this? Have you ever neglected self-care? Which means, do you ever feel like you find yourself feeling guilty for wanting to take a break? Do you ever feel like that? So you feel like, man, if I take a break, I could be doing this or I could be doing that. Or if I take a break, I should be doing this and I should be doing that. I don't necessarily want to sit down, because if I'm sitting down, I could be washing this load of clothes. Like, this load of clothes has been sitting over here in this corner for 2 days now. And you kind of make yourself feel guilty. Like, I used to not take off for work, because I'd be like, well, man, I'm going to be so far behind and, and I might as well just go. And sometimes it felt like that even with your health. So maybe you're sick, maybe you don't feel good, and you're like, well, I'm going to just go to work and, I'll feel better. And it's, somehow, some way, we didn't got in our heads to the point where we feel that if we take a day off for self-care, that it's bad. And somehow it's not a good thing, when in all actuality, it is. At the end of the day, you cannot help anyone. You cannot fix anyone. You cannot do anything until you fix yourself. You should be at the top of your priority list when it comes to self-care. You cannot save the world until you are able to do whatever it is that you need to do for you. Okay. And it's been plenty of times where many of us have done A through Z for everybody else. And then at the end of the day, what do you have left for you? At the end of the day, what do you have left for you? Right? You have no energy left for you to work out, to enjoy yourself. Maybe it could be something as simple as just sitting down watching TV, but you feel like, man, let me get up and wash these dishes. Let me go and meal prep. Let me go wash these clothes. Let me go, help so-and-so because so-and-so done called me and they need my help. But at the end of the day, exactly, you condition yourself to constantly push when you're exhausted. However, that is not a good thing. We need to decondition that. And we need to set up a new condition to where we have to prioritize our self-care. Listen, I don't know who needs to hear this, but no is a complete sentence. No is a complete sentence. You don't owe anybody any explanations. You don't owe anybody any why. Well, why you can't? Because no. No, you need sign language, N-O. No is a complete sentence, okay? And we need to be more apt to saying no, and that will in turn help us to free up some of our time. Now, granted, some of us are people pleasers sometimes, and we don't want to let anybody down. We don't want to we don't want to let anybody down, but at the same time, aren't we letting ourselves down? When we're constantly doing everything for everybody else, aren't we letting ourselves down, right? And so again, my question remains, what do you have left for you? You done poured of yourself to everybody else, and now you empty. looking crazy, okay, half sleepy, walking around here like a zombie because you ain't had no rest. We don't have time for that. No is a complete sentence. Stop giving people your time, energy, and effort. Focus on you, okay? Once you become, full of whatever it is you need, then you can try to help other people. But even still, do it with a distance, okay? Because again, you need to start saying no. Because people who are users, that's what they do in life. They use. People who are users use, right? People who are trying to take from you will take. That's what they do. And if you don't set some type of boundaries, then they will continue to do that. And so we need to learn how to say no, okay? Now, chronic stress leads to weakened immune system, which we talked about last week, and it also leads to increased anxiety. We're walking around here anxious all the time. And anxiety and being anxious is when we're constantly worrying about what could happen, what might happen, but most of the time it's just what's playing in our head that doesn't actually happen. But that's what happens when we are constantly bombarded with stress. We become anxious. And then our body is so much into that fight or flight, zone that now our immune system is weak. Our immune system has dwindled down to nothing. So again, if you are constantly out here fighting the world, nobody is fighting for you. You need to take some time for you. Okay. Did you know that when you're sleep deprived, that your brain actually start acting like it's drunk? Have you ever been drunk? So this is a judgment-free zone. We've all been drunk. Okay. So we know what that feels like. And that is what research says that being sleep deprived feels like. When you are sleep deprived, it feels like to your brain that you are drunk. Okay. And so studies show that getting less than 6 hours per night impairs our cognitive function just as much as being legally intoxicated. So we all, half of us, most of us is walking around here brain drunk because we're not getting enough sleep. Okay. And so if you wouldn't show up for work drunk, although some people do, okay, again, I ain't got nothing to say about that. If you would not show up to work drunk, why do you want to go through life feeling drunk, sleep deprived, right? So you have to focus on trying to get some rest. So sleep affects our mood, our energy, as well as our decision making, because again, you are slightly cognitively impaired when you are sleep deprived. Poor sleep increases stress and weakens immune system. Lack of sleep leads to poor workout. Okay, you can't really work out how you want to work out because you're sleepy, right? You get sleepy, you get silly. Exactly. Sleep definitely breaks you down and you're trying to constantly move forward. The little engine that could, it can't. The little engine can't. So you got to try to get some sleep. Then you have what's called REM sleep. REM sleep is critical for learning, memory, as well as emotional regulation. A lot of us can't regulate our emotions and we kind of fly off the handle because we're not getting enough sleep. And it can also lead to brain fog as well as slower reaction time. So you can't, you see a cat in the street and you trying to avoid it, but you have trouble because your reaction time, you see it, but you can't respond as quickly as you would like to because you're sleepy. Okay, you are sleep deprived. So again, studies show that getting less than 6 hours per sleep a night. Now, what is REM sleep? REM sleep, REM, is called rapid eye movement. And that is a critical stage of sleep where the brain is highly active, and that's where your dreams mostly occur. So during REM sleep, the brain processes and consolidates new information and also strengthens your long-term memories. Okay. Now, REM sleep plays a critical role in learning and memory, emotional regulation, cognitive function, as well as physical health. A lack of REM sleep can lead to cognitive impairment, increased stress, as well as difficulty concentrating. Okay. So when it comes to emotional regulations, it helps regulate your mood and emotional stability by allowing the brain to process the emotions that we are, getting from day to day. So usually things that would not, tick us off or fly us off the handle, when you don't have enough sleep, you're not able to respond appropriately to those different emotions. Okay, so we tend to, be more snappish, be more irritable, be more, agitated than what we normally would. Now, when it comes to cognitive function, REM sleep helps to improve your cognitive or your problem solving skills, your creativity, as well as mental sharpness. So when we have, let's say, students, for example, who are staying up all times of the night and they try to go to school the next day and they coming in and they have sleep, it's hard for them to function because they didn't stay up all night and they did not get enough of that REM sleep. And then of course, physical health is so very, very important because REM sleep helps to aid in the cellular repair. So it's a lot of things that's happening on the inside of the body while you all are asleep. And it happens when you are asleep. And so if you are not giving your body enough time to sleep, then all of those important repairs that's going on, it can't happen. Okay. So when you think about those repairs, I want you to think about, is it Santa's workshop? Is that it? Where are is that the little elves that be kind of building the toys and stuff like that while the kids are sleeping? Help me out with that. Is that right? So that's what okay, good. That's what happens on a cellular level while you all are sleeping. So you got the little elves in there and they building things and you done worked out and your muscles are sore and your muscles are being recovered and repaired and stuff like that. That's what's happening while you are sleeping during your REM sleep. So if you are not getting the REM sleep, then this repairs, they're not really happening, or maybe they're happening, but they're not happening at the level that they need to occur. So this is why achieving a full night's of REM sleep is so very, very crucial for your overall well-being. You have to get some sleep, okay? You have to rest. All right, so if you struggle falling asleep, setting up that bedtime routine, like I said, is a game changer, and you can try a lot of different things. And some of you have already mentioned some, so you can wind down. I'm usually pretty high strung. It takes a lot for me to wind down. My grandmother used to always tell me, Keena, you got to cut the switch off. And I'm like, where's the damn switch? Like, it ain't no switch back here, right? But winding down for me is kind of difficult, which is why I really try to do these things. Somebody mentioned reading a book. Me too. Lavender, Dr. Till, he got a whole lot of stuff. Again, I spend too much time in the store because I got like 9 bags of Dr. Till's Epsom salt, the bubble bath, like you name it, it's upstairs. It's ridiculous how much stuff I have. Lavender oils, you could do gentle stretching. Okay, so stretching kind of helps to loosen you up, release some of that tension, especially in our neck, right? If you're like me and you carrying around, my husband called me bag lady because I have like 9 bags with me when I leave the house. And so I have a lot of tension in my shoulders and my neck from lugging around that big bag. So you can do some gentle stretching. Keep a journal. Try to track your habits so that you will know what's working. So what did you do this night that allowed you to sleep a little bit better? What did you do? Okay, so keep a journal of that. And limit naps. That's usually where our problem is, because don't a nap that's supposed to be 20 to 30 minutes, don't that nap turn into like 5 hours and you wake up like, oh shit, what time is it? You think it's the next day, right? And so you might want to limit your naps, okay? Because if you sleep too much, then it definitely disrupts your nighttime routine, okay? Because if you sleep for 4 hours for a nap, then when you wake up, you're not sleepy for night, right? So try to limit those. And again, listen to calming music. Some people say you can listen to classical, but the classical music I listen to, it get me hyped because I be, like I just be wired for no reason. Like I got issues. Yep, confused in a mug. So I try not to take any naps because that's when you get into, and it's like you sleep your best when you're not supposed to. Isn't that interesting? Like you get home and you like, okay, I'm not going to take no nap. I'm not going to take no nap. And that be some of the best sleep. But then at night, you wide awake, counting the cracks, counting the spider webs, counting whatever because you can't sleep. It's ridiculous. Now, we know that exercise is free therapy. We already know that. It helps to boost your mood. We learned that in a previous lecture. It helps to reduce anxiety, and it also helps you to get better sleep. Now, you just have to figure out when is exercise best for you, though. Now, here's the thing. I like to exercise first thing in the morning because I am my first priority. I like to get my workout done and out of the way in the morning. But some people like to work out at night. I find for me that my energy level wanes at night. And so nighttime is not good for me because once I get into the zone at the gym, now I'm wired again, which is not a good thing. So exercising at night for me is not a good thing. But for some people, exercising at night is a good thing because they exercise so much to the point where they leave it all on the flow. For in other words, they leave it all on the flow. And so by the time they get home, they're exhausted. So you just have to find which one works best for you. I prefer morning because, again, most people and things and situations, they arise during the day and you find yourself putting out small fires here and there, and then you ain't got nothing left for you. And you like, okay, I'm done. I'll do it tomorrow. And then tomorrow turn into next week. And then next week turn into 3 weeks from now. And now you ain't worked out in the whole 2 months because you didn't kind of let things get in the way. So if you prioritize yourself first, then you don't have to worry about that. We know that exercise helps to regulate cortisol. We know that stress can cause a lot of significant problems, including weight gain. And so if we can kind of get that stress under control via exercise, then we can help to regulate that. Exercise helps to focus on or to improve your mood, your focus, sleep quality. And so balance is the key. You have to make sure that you balance everything. Okay. You don't want to work out so much to where, you are, drained and sore and now you uncomfortable, but you don't want to work out too little where you're not really necessarily getting a lot of the benefits. So try to do a balance, find some balance in between there somewhere. All right. So you could do, let's say 3 to 5 days of intense workouts, and then 2 days of just active recovery. Active recovery could be something like yoga. It could be something like walking, stretching, maybe going for a bike ride, a nice bike ride. And again, what I'm telling you don't apply to me because I got issues because I'm too competitive, y'all. Let me tell y'all how competitive I am. Like I really got some issues. I'm in therapy, right? And I told my therapist that I have issues and he was like, well, I got 2 hands. So I got enough hands for all your issues. I'm like, are you sure about that? Because I don't really think so. But I'm too competitive. And so what I mean by that is I went to yoga one day and this guy in front of me, he stretched. And he was able to turn his body like that. He was able to fold into a pancake. And I was trying to do it, but I'm not that flexible. But I kept trying and I'm not that flexible. And I mess around and almost hurt myself because I'm too competitive. Like, even though I know that yoga is supposed to be relaxing, everything I do, I turn it into some type of, competition. And so that's the problem. I tell one of my friends, I said, let's go for a bike ride. He say, how long we riding for? And I'm like, it's only 30 miles. Literally, we rode for 30 miles. He will not ride with me again. So it's issues like that I have that I'm working on. Self-care is not selfish. You hear me? Self-care is not selfish. You have to have self-care. You have to be able to take care of you. It isn't just bubble baths and spa days, okay? It could be, but it's not just that. It's anything that helps you recharge. Anything that helps you to recharge and to get back to yourself is considered self-care. It can be as simple as drinking enough water for the day. It can be taking a mental break. Some of us, we like my sister say, I'm overloaded or I'm mentally overloaded. And so at that point, she needs a break. And she's well aware, she's able to recognize that and she's able to say, okay, I'm overly stimulated. I need a break. And so you have to be able to recognize when certain things is becoming too much, and then you have to be able to take a break, take a step back. So it could be taking a mental break. It could be I'm gonna just sit in my car before I get home or before I get in the house because I just don't want to be bombarded with questions and noise and stuff like that. So I'm gonna just sit in the car for a few minutes. It could be something as simple as that, okay? Or it could be you scheduling some me time without feeling guilty, okay? Again, think of it like maintenance. If you don't take care of your car, eventually it's going to break down. Okay. And then once it breaks down, then what? Your body is the exact same way. You have to be able to take care of your body. Okay. And by body, we know about the health triangle. Body includes mentally, it includes socially and physically. You have to be able to take care of your body. When you start to recognize that things are going awry, then that's time for you to take a step back. Say no. Remember, no is a complete sentence. Say no, take a step back, and you have to try to fuel your body with whatever it needs at that particular time, whether it's water, stay hydrated, take intentional breaks, okay? Which could be from technology. Take intentional breaks. And you have to be able to, like I said, fuel your body. A lot of us, like me, will be, I'll be working so much that I'll forget to eat. So my stomach will be growling and I'm like, damn, I'm hungry. And then I'll be like, okay, I'll eat in a minute. And then next thing you know, I'm still working again. And before you know it, 5 hours beating past and I forgot to actually get something to eat. And a lot of you are like that as well. A lot of you are, you working so much and you're putting yourself on the back burner. And then now, next thing you know, you're getting sick. Next thing you know, your energy levels are low. Next thing you know, you're not really feeling good. So you have to take intentional breaks. And again, this is something that you have to work towards. I'm not saying that you're gonna get it all right and perfectly the first day. That's not how it's gonna happen. We're going to have to, do it again and again until it actually becomes some type of a habit. Okay. But again, you have to do something that is considered self-care that helps you to take care of you, whatever that is. You have to start doing that. Self-care is not selfish, okay? It's important and you need it, okay? And again, no is a complete sentence. Start setting your boundaries. Push people back, okay? Because again, once you get sick, then what? People will find somebody else to fill in the gap when you're no longer in their vicinity to do. Again, users use, right? Takers take. When you remove yourself from that formula, they'll just find somebody else to do it. So why are you so hesitant to say no? They'll just find somebody else to fill in. And then those same people that you're always falling over for, always running to help, when you need them, where they at? You see my face? Where they at? When you need them, where they at? Nowhere. They ain't nowhere to be found. But yet you done ran yourself down trying to take care of them. Okay? So start saying no. Set some boundaries. All right, so here's the big reveal. The one technique that changes everything that pretty much all of the CEOs and the athletes and stuff like that do in order to help them to become better and try to do a reset. The number one secret to stress reduction is consistent mindfulness practice. That's what the secret is. It's mindfulness. It's being aware. It's being in the moment. It's not being so concerned about what happened in the past, what happened in the present, what's happening now. It's just letting things go for the moment. Just be. Just be. Okay? 5 minutes of deep breathing or journaling can help to rewire your brain altogether. Research shows that mindfulness reduces stress. It improves sleep as well as boosts happiness. And the good thing is that technology is all around us and they have apps for pretty much any and everything that you need. So they have apps like Headspace and apps like Calm that help you to be more mindful, help you to be in the moment. Okay? So if you take nothing else from this lesson, I want you to take 5 minutes every day to just try to be mindful. It can help, or it can be something as simple as breathing exercises, meditation, or just writing things down that you're grateful for. A lot of us are so stressed about certain situations and things like that. But it's like at this point, you have to be grateful for the things that you have. Grateful. I'm grateful I'm alive. I'm grateful that I have you all here watching. I'm grateful that, I woke up today in less pain than what I was in yesterday. I'm grateful that I have glasses that I can see, right? I'm grateful for my husband who takes really good care of me. I'm grateful for so much. I don't have time to be down and depressed. Thank you. I'm grateful for you too. I don't have time to concentrate and focus on the negative, right? And so I'm real big on pushing love and light and positive energy because that's what I'm all about. And the thing is that the more that you concentrate and focus on darkness, then that's all you're going to see. If you're only concentrating on everything that can go wrong and the bad and the negative, then that's all you're going to be surrounded by. And so by constantly doing these little journaling, these 5-minute journaling, it shows you that you can be grateful for the things that you do have. Focus on the light. When you focus on the light, the darkness doesn't seem so dark. Y'all got that? When you focus on the light, the darkness doesn't seem so dark. So the things may not be perfect. It's not going to be perfect because we're human. We're having a human experience. It's not going to be perfect, but it can definitely be better. Okay? It can definitely be better. And so again, this whole mindfulness thing, this is why your top athletes and your CEOs and your high achievers, why they prioritize mindfulness, because it works and you get so many positive benefits from it. Okay? We are on our final week of our Hillman Talk. This is lesson or lecture number 7. We have had 7 lectures, right? And so on this Thursday at 7 p.m. will be our final lesson for our Glow Up Guide. And that topic will be to discuss your personalized health roadmap, a beginner's guide to long-term health success. So hopefully you have learned, or taken away some, positive things, some things that you can use to your benefit in health and wellness overall. But what's most important is I'm a firm believer that knowledge should be shared. And so what I mean by that, if you learn something from me, share it. Okay, share it with others, because that's how we get better as a society. A lot of our parents, for example, don't know necessarily about how to read a food label. And so they don't know the difference between why is this higher in sugar than that, but you do now. And even if you don't have the way to explain it, you can show them that video, right? Again, for me, ladies and gentlemen, likes and shares, reposts, subscriptions, they all help me out. But more importantly, it helps out the people that's watching those videos. Everybody needs to know how to decode a food label. Everybody needs to know what a perfect plate should look like. You see what I'm saying? And so that's what it's all about. It's all about sharing knowledge so that we can become better. We're so much better together than we are separate. We're so much together as a whole than we are separate. Even though people, places, and things try to keep us divisive, we're so much better together. We're so much better when we're learning from each other. We're learning about things. I don't have all of the answers, and I don't want to come across like I do. You have answers too. You have things and learned experiences that you have that you could be sharing with the world in order to help them get better as well. Okay, so make sure that, like, subscribe, share, watch, do whatever you need to do. And let's help each other to become better as a society as a whole. Okay. All right. So if there are no questions or no comments or anything like that, this will conclude today's lecture. And I will see you for our final lecture on Thursday at 7 p.m. Got it? All right. Now let me drink my tea, my Harry Potter cup tea. You're welcome. Y'all having a amazing rest of your night. You're welcome. All right, let me get off of YouTube.